This is the closest thing to crazy I have ever.
20 years after she first topped the charts, we catch up with Melua on her new album and new baby. Now, my next guest is a singer-songwriter who has spent 20 years in the music industry. She sold 11 million albums and shot to fame at just 19 years old after studying at the Brit School in Croydon. And as soon as you hear this, you'll know who I'm talking about.
This is the closest thing to crazy I have ever been. Feeling 22, acting 17.
Melua, welcome to BBC London. Thank you so much for coming in. That was, can you believe it, 20 years ago. And you're talking today about your 9th studio album now, Love and Money. I mean, did your 19-year-old self see this coming, do you think?
I really didn't. I remember thinking, I mean, it was 2003, and when we got to #1 with that first record, I remember thinking, this is probably not going to last, so I better make the most of it. Because it's the music industry, you know, it can be so fickle. So I'm just over the moon to be launching my 9th studio album.
And we'll talk more about that in just a moment. But just sort of looking back on your past, you had a very varied upbringing, didn't you? Originally born in Georgia, you moved to Belfast and then ended up in South London, I think. Yes. That must have been a huge shock to the system. What did London say to you when you first arrived? Do you remember?
Well, I just love London. I've been living here for 20 years now. And you know what? When we moved from Georgia to the West, there were basic things like, okay, so imagine I was like a 5, 6, 7-year-old girl when I was living in Georgia, and I pictured my life, you know, as a woman growing up in Georgia, and there just weren't many opportunities there. I was really quite concerned about what I'd be able to do with my life, even at such a young age. And fast forward, we moved to Belfast because my dad's a doctor, and I was just really excited to go to school. I was one of those geeks that was like, I'm going to make the most of school. I'm just going to, you know, do the best that I can. And then eventually we moved to London, but you know, London came once I got to release the records, and I did really well, and I was able to move to the big city, and I just love this city so much. So every single day I'm so grateful for, you know, the life that I've been able to live. But the shock to the system was also things like turning the tap on and water coming out, because we didn't have that in Georgia, and having heating on all the time. It sounds extreme, but that was the life back in Georgia in the early 90s.
And here we are now. You've seen huge success, and as I said, we're talking about your new album today, Love and Money. Let's have a listen to one of the songs from that, Quiet Moves. Let's have a listen.
And I like quiet moves. Speak of the day and the way you sit and the things you choose.
It sounds fantastic. And what we can't see in this picture here is that actually you're pregnant in this picture, aren't you? And you recorded a lot of the album while you were pregnant. You've put a lot of yourself into previous albums. Is that the case this time as well, specifically given that you were, you know, having a baby at the time?
Absolutely. I mean, I've, you know, talking about being from an immigrant family, you just work so hard. You're so grateful for everything. And really, over the years, I think I definitely overdid it. I think a lot of us do, you know, when you have an amazing job that you're addicted to. And it took me a long time to accept where I was with my music and to actually really invest in my life at home. So I was able to do that over the last few years. Of course, the pandemic had a part to play in that. And I did actually write a song called Golden Record, which is about accepting all of that and then finally deciding, okay, I do really want to start a family.
And you've got a, I think, 4-month-old little boy now.
Yes.
How has the early days of motherhood been, and how on earth are you doing this, promoting your new album along with having a very, I imagine, needy young baby still?
Well, the only way to do it is if you know, it sounds like a boring answer, but you have to plan it really well. So I've got a great team, great management who just help me, you know, really sort of plan around his feeding times and, you know, when I can come in and do the TVs. But I guess I'm just also really excited to be here, to be promoting a record. There was definitely a period as a mum in December when I was thinking, oh my God, am I ever going to get to go back in the music industry ever again? Because it's intense.
Well, we wish you all the luck with what's to come next. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.